Good afternoon, assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to another Club 100 video. It's Buckmore Park, it's the final round of the season. I'm a little bit sad, but we've got a championship to fight for. We're 3 points behind Steph Theodoru for second place in the C2 championship. It's practically first because, let's be honest, nobody cares about Harrison anyway. And we're at Buckmore Park. It's the circuit where I had my first ever BUKC win, my first ever heat win, my first ever C2 class win. Surely it's going to go well for us. I think I've also never had a penalty at this circuit as well. It was a little bit damp to start off the day, and we are ready to go racing for the first heat. Dan Seeger is making an appearance in our heat videos. It's like all of the stars are aligning for this final race of the day. So let's get it underway. In lap one, we're starting on the outside of the grid. We've got Ben Lambert on our inside. The very inside of the track was super slippy, so Ben Lambert is doing a fantastic job to actually be able to keep that car on the inside, and we're going to try to follow him through because I don't want to try to get past him right now. I want to push him along. I want to try to catch up to Dan Seeger at the very front of this field. I hang around the outside of hairpin 2 and I just try to eat my way back onto the circuit behind Ben. This has been a fantastic start for us. We are up into P5 and now we can try to hunt our way up further through the order. Thankfully, Dan Seeger isn't at the front of the train and we're going to have a send up the inside of Ben Lambert. I decided maybe the first lap I can catch him off the guard, go for a move. It doesn't work, so this is the point where I tell myself, okay, I went for the move, I tried to get past Ben, it didn't work, that was my opportunity. Now we have to work with Ben for a couple of laps, unless we get some amazing opportunity, as that's actually White going up the inside of Dan Seeger. Dan Seeger fights back, and now Ben Lambert is trying to go up the inside of Ashley White. We're watching all of this unfold. I know they're going to take each other out on the inside, so I go to the outside. I still kind of get tapped a little bit. We both get through on Ashley White, and now I can try to push Ben Lambert through once again, as Dan Seeger is unfortunately, I mean, I'm kind of happy, but I'm kind of annoyed, is up to the front of the field, and we just have to try to work with Ben, give him a little push at every opportunity and try to hunt down our goat of Mr. Seeger. But then something a little bit weird happens. Listen to the car. It just dies. We go over that bump and it kills the car, and then as a result we're not on the back of Ben. So Ben goes up the inside, up into second place, but we can't follow him through, and that's really costly. So we have to send it up the inside of hairpin 1, but we kind of lose track position, or well, not track position, we lose our position versus Ben, and from that point onwards we couldn't really close back up. We couldn't work with Ben to push him along to close into Dan Seeger, and that was kind of how this heat ended, really. We ended up falling back a little bit from Mr. Lambert. We did kind of keep the gap to Dan Seeger slightly. We'll cut forward to the final lap of the race now, and you can see what that gap is looking like. Dan pulled away a little bit, Ben was closing in, but it was just us three at the front of the field by a country mile to everyone else, and that's how the first heat of the day ended, only able to get a P3. To be fair though, a decent result considering we started from about 8th or something like that, so I'm not too disappointed with it. It could have been a little bit better. We give Ben Lambert a nice little fist bump, and I think, you know, even the early points of that race, even if I could have got past Ben, he probably would have got back past me, so it didn't matter. But now we're into our second heat of the day, and look how stacked this heat is. We've got Andrew McWilliam, who is 3rd place in the championship. We've got James Martin. We've got Ed Bars. We've got Sam Lovelace. We've got Bryn Albin. We've got Andrew Ward as well. Ben Lambert is in this race. So I was a little bit nervous going into this race because I knew it was going to be difficult, especially with Sam Lovelace and Ed Bars of all people starting in front of me. The others I didn't really mind too much about. I mean, they're still good drivers, but it's Ed and Sam that are the biggest worry for me. So I needed to get my head down. I needed to try to get good results. Remember, I came into this race 3 points behind Steph. My first heat, I got 3rd, Steph got 2nd. So I was now 5 points behind Steph in the championship, and I was constantly trying to keep up to date with the championship. We don't get a good run, but we're late on the brakes, so we're able to kind of follow through behind Sam Lovelace through the first couple of corners, and now just trying to pick our way through, really trying to figure out where we're going to find space. We have to go on the outside of hairpin 1. That allows Bryn back through. I'm not going to send it up the inside. I just need to be smart. I can't get a penalty and I just have to be clinical. I have to be patient. I have to wait for the opportunity to strike him. I know that Bryn is quick, so push him along, wait for an opportunity to open itself up. Bryn actually won the previous heat, and now we're getting that opportunity. Some Clark's going wide, and again, just going to sit behind Bryn. I don't want anyone to send it up my inside, so we have to be a little bit defensive while being aggressive. Sam Lovelace ends up getting pushed out wide, going into Cafe. We're going to push Bryn through. He goes a little bit wide, but it doesn't matter because we've got through this trail of cars. We have gained a couple of positions as we go into turn 1. And again, just push Bryn along as I get a whopping amount of oversteer on corner exit. I don't know if I hit a damp patch or if someone tapped my rear. Again, I take a slightly defensive line into hairpin 2. Maybe I had to check over my shoulder and saw that someone was nearby. But from this point, it was just push Bryn along. I think something happened to Sam Lovelace, so he fell back, and look at the run we're going to get through this corner as we close back in onto Bryn. And I was having a think, do I send it up the inside into Garner? Again, decide against it. I don't need to throw things away. Ed Bars was up in second place, and yeah, that was kind of stressing me out just a little bit. Sorry, Ed Bars is in third. It's James Martin who is in second. And yeah, that was also stressing me out just a little bit. But again, it's fine. There's still a lot of laps left in this race, and we're just searching for an opportunity to get past, get through on Bryn. And again, this highlight video isn't really highlight, but I don't know. I think final round of the season, I wanted to make it a little bit longer than usual as Bryn's closing into actually why he sends it up the inside, and that forces both of them to go wide. We get to go up the inside of Bryn. Bryn's been spending a lot of time with me lately in the endurances. I've been giving him some tips on how to be a dirty driver and how to get a few penalties, and that time it worked out really well for us. So, planning ahead in the championship, and we're able to gain a position, and now we can try to hunt down Ashley White. And this is the point where, now that I found myself in a bit of clean air, I was really able to just hammer in some absolutely cracking lap times. I mean, this is the first lap I've had properly in clean air, able to get into the 46s. Not too bad, but the lap times do get better. And it was one of those days where it was a little bit down. We were slowly gaining time throughout the day, slowly finding our feet, gaining a bit more confidence, because the track was always changing that tiny amount. And this is why it's only a 46.9. We catch up to the back of Ashley White, have a little lift going through Cafe, because loads of people were lifting into Cafe corner, and I could take it flat, but I didn't want to push him out wide and get a penalty. So I played it ultra safe. We've got an opportunity. We're going to send it up the inside into hairpin 1. Fantastic run from us out of turn 1. And I know Ashley can sometimes be quite aggressive, so I just turn in a little bit early into hairpin 2 just to dissuade him from having a sent up our inside. And now we are up into 4th place. I can see the leading 3 up ahead. It's time to get my head down, try to close up to them, and you can see how much we gained through this downhill section. We were absolutely phenomenal through that sequence of corners all day at Buckmore Park, and at this point I can see how much I've caught up to the top 3. I'm thinking, I can win this. I've got the pace to actually win this. A race that I started behind Ed and Sam, and we're going to pause the video because have a look at the top left. Lap 6 out of 9, it's in gold. Because this lap was a fastest lap of the race, but purple wasn't enough for this. It was the fastest lap of the day, so we're going gold. So guys, pay attention, because I am now the king of Buckmore Park, and you slow coaches should, I don't know where I'm going with this, but either way, this is a really cool lap. Have a look, and genuinely, someone give me some advice for hairpin 2, because I keep losing time through there. And I feel like there's another 10th or 2 through that corner to gain. But yeah, from the king of Buckmore, here is a hot lap of the circuit in slightly damp conditions, but mainly dry. We're going to head into turn 1, take a slightly wide line because there was a bit of water on the apex of the corner, then flat out onto the power. I didn't use a paint on entry into hairpin 1 because I was still a bit tentative of whether that paint was a bit damp. Into hairpin to kind of miss the first part of the apex. Actually, don't listen to me through hairpin. I don't know what I'm doing through that. Completely flat though through the chicane, and then down here we carry so much speed, a little bit sideways, but we get that sideways slide sorted. We're super, I don't know, smooth going into the right-hander at the bottom of Paddock, and then through Garner, over the curb, open up the steering as much as possible, ride the curb a little bit, and hey, look at that, we're on the back of the leading 3, flat through Cafe as well, using a bit of the curb on the exit as we head on to lap 7, and at this point I was super excited. I'm on the inside, and I should have sent it. I should have gone up the inside of Ed Bars, but I thought maybe he'd try to go for a move and then he'd come across me, so I backed out of it. I was just a little bit too cautious for this heat. Coming out of hairpin 2, I don't know who to push. I can't go around the outside of Andrew McWilliam because I'm going to get sent into the tyre barriers. If I do, it'd be a very dumb move. So we're going to sit behind, but we're going to get a good run. We're going to stuff it up his inside. We almost clip the back of Ed Bars through the corner as well, and that's one of the difficulties when you try to send someone when there's another car in front. The send's fine, but you might catch the car in front, and you have to get that braking point just right, and we almost get it to absolute perfection, almost goes terribly wrong. And as we come to start lap 8, again, heads down, we want to try to catch up to the leading 2, and I know I have the pace. We're going to, I don't know, we just gained so much time under brakes. Ed did tell me later that he was having a little bit of trouble with the car. His brakes were like either completely on or completely off, so he was struggling to make his way through the field, but I don't care. I caught it, but I'll take that nonetheless. As we make our way through Paddock again, really closing in through this right-hander, and again I'm trying to think, where can I go for a move? We're going to try to send it up the inside. Ed is super late on the brakes, sees me coming, hangs it wide, and reclaims the position, doesn't let me get through. Just really nice from Ed. Great awareness from seeing me coming like an absolute numpty. And then into turn 1, I get a tap from behind from Bryn, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to get sent into here, and then Bryn hits my rear. I guess he learned too much from me about being aggressive, and he took me out. That wasn't part of the plan. We dropped down 3 positions. We were able to get Ashley White into hairpin 2, and I was livid at this point. I was so pissed because I thought I could get second. I thought maybe I could get first. We're going to try to send Andrew McWilliam. It's a bit late, there's contact, and I think, you know what, just let Andrew through. It's not worth getting a penalty over. But yeah, I was very annoyed after this race. But you know, as soon as a race ends, you're always a little bit pissy. Once I had some time to get over it, you know, just calm down. Everything's fine, everything's chill. But at that moment, I was a little bit upset. But it is what it is. We still got P4. Bryn got a penalty for that, as he should. But again, it was a good race. Like, the fact that we were able to do what we did pace-wise was incredible. So I'll take that heat. We're heading now into our final heat of the day. And if the previous heat was stacked, this heat is definitely stacked. Ben Lambert, Steph on the front row of the grid, our championship rival. We've got James Martin, we've got Dan Seeger, we've got Rob Newman, and we have Sam Lovelace all in this heat. It is ridiculously strong. And it's a round that I need to beat Steph. Steph's previous race, he finished the low 4th, I think it was 6th. No, sorry, it was 5th. So I was back to being 3 or 4 points behind Steph, and needed a good result really to pull myself back up into the championship fight, heading into the final. I knew I'd get past Steph into turn 1, and then I needed to get past Ben Lambert as quickly as possible and try to pull from the field. That, or push Ben along, and we're going to get our race up. We don't get a good start, and I was panicking here. I was like, I've got to be late on the brakes, go right onto the back of Ben, who, in fairness, doesn't actually go wide as a result. I think he braked early because he was anticipating it. We both are able to get past Steph, and I'm like, thank God, I'm ahead of Steph. I have a look behind, Steph's in 3rd place, and now I'm just thinking, I know I'm quicker than Steph. I just need to push Ben along and try to clamber my way up through the field. And considering that previous race, we had so much pace, so I was feeling super confident. Ben almost goes straight into the tyre barrier through Paddock. We get a good run, and I'm thinking, do I send it? I'm like, just be patient, just be patient. I don't need to go for a move. I know that Rob and Sam are going to be making their way through the field, and the last thing I can do is battle with Ben here and cost us both time. If I can get through like neatly, I'll go for it. Through turn 1, not quite the best of run, and I'm constantly searching. Like, you can see me having these little looks, these little thinks, not committing to it, but almost baiting myself into making a move, and I was in this weird scenario where I thought I was quicker than Ben, but I also didn't want to make a move, and I had these two kind of contradicting thoughts running in my head, heading throughout this race. And again, through Paddock we don't get a good run on the exit of Paddock, but yeah, it's fine for now. We make our way out of Ghana and through Cafe, and again, it's just about trying to stick to the back of Ben, who I think has to look behind him. Yep, there it is, just to see where I am. I take a much wider line in, so Ben carries a lot more speed into the corner. I get a bit more speed out. I was a little bit too wide on that lap, but we do get a really nice run through hairpin number 1, and again, hairpin 2 just isn't my forte. We lose a little bit of time on exit, but again, I'm just sitting behind thinking, where can I go for that move? Because I know I'm quicker, and I'm just waiting for that opportunity to essentially strike. Again, Ben's making these little mistakes, which is giving me that bit of confidence, but it's also giving me a bit of fear that if I stay behind Ben and he's making these mistakes, the others are going to catch up. To be fair, I should have had a look behind to see how close they were, and they weren't actually that close. We gained a lot on Ben, who I think had a bit of a bad part heading into this heat. We get a really good run, and I should have sent it. That's the place. I should have gone up the inside into hairpin 1. I should have done the deed. Too far back to go into hairpin 2, but I think that was my opportunity. Looking back at this whole heat, that's where I should have gone for the move on Ben and taken the lead, but I didn't. I was too tentative, and then coming down the hill through here, again, I'm having a think, can I go up the inside into Paddock? Instead, I'm going to try to get the exit, but I don't get a good enough exit to send it up the inside of Ghana. And I think it was this lap that made me impatient. And I thought, okay, that was my opportunity to get past Ben. I'm definitely quicker. Now, I need to get the job done fast, when in reality, I had plenty of time to get this done. We get a really nice run through turn 1. Again, probably could have centered up the inside into hairpin 1, although Lambert does brake late. Goes a little bit wide, but we're on the outside now for hairpin 2. We're going to try to get the run on corner exit, but we don't get a run. We actually almost get a worse run than Ben on the exit of the corner. And now I was thinking, right, I've got to go for it. And I tried to get the run through Paddock, and I just come out really weirdly. And because I'm on the inside, I end up baiting myself to commit for the move when I wasn't close enough, because I got such a weird run. That allows Dan Seeger to go up my inside. I should have defended from him. I can't believe I let someone slow us down and get past me like that. It is what it is. And as a result, Dan got past me, and now I've got Sam and Rob behind me as well. And it was just one of those things that once Dan got past me, I knew Sam was close. I thought Sam might send me into this corner. I didn't defend. Sam goes through. Rob follows through as well. Very respectfully, Rob actually leaves me room to rejoin the circuit, which I wasn't expecting at all. So thank you very much, Rob, for that. Much appreciated. And then I get a really bad run through Paddock. I have to jump onto the brakes because I know Steph's behind me. So I just trying to throw him off a little bit early on the brakes. It works. He goes into my back, and then I'm like, ciao, ciao, sayonara. And yeah, we pull away, because that was Steph's one opportunity to get back past me in this race. And then from here, it's weird. Now that I'd lost all of this time, I started to find pace, right? I started to put in some decent laps. This lap, not the best, 46.9. Kind of looking back, and some of those exits on hairpin 2, Ben Lambert didn't have the best of carts, and I was struggling to get exits relative to him. So I wonder if maybe my car was a little bit low on bottom end. Also, that gives me a good segue to talk about something, which is just a big thank you to CLUB100. And kind of mention, because I know in a lot of races I've kind of complained. I wouldn't say complained, I've mentioned car disparity, and I've said, you know, this is a race that's not a good car, or I complain about penalties. I would just like to stress, I'm not complaining. It's part of CLUB100, right? Humans aren't going to, the officials aren't going to get every single call right, but I like to be honest in my videos and say what I think. New carts coming in for next year, so hopefully the kart parity will be really, really consistent, and we can have some absolutely fantastic racing. And with that being said as well, I've had some phenomenal races this year, so regardless of whether I've had decent karts in some heats, amazing karts in others, or bad karts, whatever. Overall, it's been a really, really fun year, despite everything, despite my idiot sends, my stupid penalties, my penalties that I feel I shouldn't have got penalties, etc, etc, etc. But we are heading on to the last lap of the race, and we've kind of caught up to Ben Lambeth once again, and I'm thinking, do we get past him here? Is there a way for us to get the move? Little did I know, Dan Seeger had a penalty. I did see though, and you can look back in the video when we crossed the line, you see a flicker of somebody getting a penalty, but you can't see who it is, and I figured it's one of the guys up ahead of me. I don't know who, but it's one of them. So I knew, right, I'm in 5th right now, this will become P4, and I was hoping it was Rob, because that way he would fall between me and Steph, so I'd gain an extra point over Steph as a result. As it turns out, it was Dan for how he got past Ben Lambeth a couple of laps ago. So he dropped behind both me and Rob as a result, which, behind me and Rob, behind me and Steph. But yeah, that's just how it goes. Which means our heat results have been a 3rd and 2 fourths. It's not by far and away not my best set of results, but I guess a kind of consistent set of results, and results that could have been a lot better as well. Like we had fantastic pace, some of the best pace I've had at Buckmore Park, and really kind of good signs for next year as well, in the sense that we've had races where we've been catching up to so many people. But with that, I want to take this opportunity to do a little skit, which is a Paddock show. I thought, you know, I've been talking about so many drivers, but you viewers of the channel, you've never been able to actually meet these drivers, see the faces behind the helmet. So here's a little special something. Oh, look who we found on the weighing bridge. My arch nemesis. How you doing, Steph?
I'm alright, thank you. Yeah.
I thought I should put a face to the name that I slag off in every single YouTube video.
Well, I think I should get some royalties for the amount of videos I've been in, to be honest.
Right.
Because you keep putting me in them.
Pardon?
I said you keep putting me in your videos, but I ain't getting no money for it.
It's not my fault you keep overtaking me, is it?
No, it's right.
I saw how desperate you were at Ella without a send as well.
Listen,
See,
it's going to go down to the wire today, right? And what's going to happen is your mate over here,
yeah,
another one who owes me royalties for the videos, yeah? He's going to take you out.
yeah. So, okay, I've got 2 issues right now, and this is going to be...
And you're one of them. Yeah.
This is going to be the factual reason of why you lose this championship to me. Where is the Spurs shirt and the John Deere hat?
Oh, there's no Spurs shirt today.
Okay, that's awful. Is that because they lost to Wolves? Are you a Wolves fan now and you're waiting to get the merch?
Football. Don't have to come up with it.
Dan Seeger, would you like a quick interview with Nokia Serial TV?
Put me in an awkward position here.
Have you? What are we doing?
My helmet.
I've
only taken my visor off with a car hitch.
I think you should leave your helmet like that for the entirety of the race.
Well, then you'll go off the track and flick stones into my eyes.
Now, Dan, I've got a very, very important question. Can you show the camera the back of your helmet? So, could you explain why you are such a hypocrite and you've got 53 on the back of your helmet, but you picked number 5 for the season?
Because I do what I want and I'm too good.
Fair enough. As one of the best drivers of Yusuf Scope Farm, can you confirm who is going to come second in the CT Championship?
You, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've got to back the go.
And will you get beaten by me in every single race and heat today?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've also got a fun fact. Did you know, at every single Buckmore Park round, you've never beaten me in a heat?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, well, I'll have to try a bit harder today though, won't I?
No, please don't.
If you're in front of me, I'll just let you through, so it's fine.
Thank you. Hello, we have 2 of the greatest drivers of all time.
So you're going to have to everyone to say that?
Pardon?
Yeah. You're going to have to everyone to say that?
Maybe I'll do that for everyone. So we got Samuel Essery, who decided to leave C2 because he's too good for us.
Yeah.
And Aaron Clark, who plans on leaving C2 soon enough. And like to take podiums away from me. What do you have to say?
You take it mostly away from me.
Pardon?
You take it mostly away from me.
True. I like to say that I've binned it and given them to you.
I'd say that too, yeah. Especially last time out, went right on a left-hand turn.
So, I'm trying to think of fun questions because I've not really prepared this.
Oh.
How are you going to do today?
We will see.
We will. Boring.
Oh, I don't really know.
Are you going to get any black flags?
Yes.
Are you going to overtake people under yellows again?
I'm going to take you, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. But not get caught this time, right?
No, not get caught.
Oh my god. I'm going to take that as you've admitted now that
You've
you overtook me.
incriminated me,
Hello, Jason. I've got a camera.
Oh, God.
It's going to be on the YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah,
Right.
why not do some rubbish?
I mean, we can start with that if you want. What happened? You were leading.
Was I?
I thought so.
No.
Third.
In the C final.
Third, then I dropped one, and then fifth come up behind me up to Garda. Apparently he got tapped from behind. He didn't.
Yeah.
Took me out, and I was going to spun around. I was in the middle of the track, and as a guy come on, we went side by side, and I got a penalty for it. So then I finished, 6th, 7th, 8th was it?
Fair enough.
Not good.
So, the important question.
Yes.
I've been considering Harrison's pace recently, and some people would say it's out of this world. Can you confirm the rumours that Harrison is an alien you picked up outside of Tesco 20 years ago?
Yes, I can confirm that is true.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Hello, Harrison. You're now part of the Milky Cereal Paddock show.
Thank you.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm alright, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. So I've got an important question for you. As one of the best looking drivers on the paddock, who would you say outside of yourself is the most handsome Club 100 racing driver?
I'm bad with faces and names.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I don't know. Sam Lovelace.
Sam
He's a handsome
Lovelace?
chap, yeah.
I had a feeling you were going to say
He's a
Sam.
handsome
Okay,
chap.
I'll get him a little present for that.
Good.
Yeah, I'll say it's like an early Valentine's gift from yourself.
Do it, yeah.
okay,
Hopefully he lets me into it.
Yeah. And then we've got Dante Dillon. Dante, I've got a question for you.
Go on.
How does it feel to be the only driver shorter than Fraser Bronson?
It's quite devastating. I've got quite used to it now after many so years. I stopped growing at about half my age. I take it on the chin really. I just try and embrace it. So yeah.
Now, I've been watching a lot of your videos to prepare for this round. And I've got a question. Why do you drive with your hands on the wheel like a granny? And was your grandmother a very fast driver?
I don't recall them being good drivers or fast drivers. I like to hold up high. I just like to be precise. I just quite enjoy it. Really. It was very awkward initially, but I've got used to it now.
Should I try the same technique, or does it only work for you?
You can try it. The first time I tried it, I hated it, and was like, I'm never driving like this again. And then I started driving like it again, and it just made me feel like I was able to be very precise. So give it a go.
Thank you. Sam Lovelace, the driver that I'm looking for.
Okay.
So, I've got something to give you.
Thank
Great.
What's his name?
You have a secret admirer. Someone has called you the most handsome driver in the Club 100 paddock.
Does it begin with H?
Pardon?
Does it begin with H?
Possibly. Depends if we're going by first name or surname.
I don't know what to say. I'm flattered, but
How are you going to break this news to Chloe?
I think we just keep this between us, and we'll see how it goes.
What's happening today in the racing? Or what's going to happen?
I'm on pole for the first heat, so
Don't bin it.
don't win it. Probably top of the list, and then we'll see where we go. Just got to beat Ed, and I don't have to beat Harrison, but
He's really desperate to beat you, in case he hasn't told you. Yeah. Really, really, really wants to beat you.
well, if I see him in the final, he'll go spinning.
I've got a new interviewee. Hello, Nick.
Hello, Yusuf, how are you?
I thought you'd be a perfect person to interview as someone who was my teammate and then got taken out here, actually, right there on the circuit.
I think the very last corner, the fast left-hander.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was very opportunistic, but sadly pushed into the barrier and thrown off into the dirt.
Yeah. How are your heats looking for today?
How are my heats looking? I'm starting first in one of them. I don't remember which one. But yeah, feeling good about it. Last race,
Do you have me in any of your heats to possibly take you out?
I didn't look because I don't think you're that good a driver, so I don't really.
Oh, okay, right.
I don't really
It's like
think
that,
it's really that competitive. So
Okay.
kind of just
Yeah,
Never look
fair
here.
enough.
Sorry.
I see how it is. I'll see you in the A final. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Mate, yeah.
a big thank you to everyone for being such a good sport with that Paddock show, because nobody knew I was going to do that. I feel like every round somebody expects me to be an idiot and do something, but nobody expected me to be an idiot like that. But yeah, everyone was amazing, and sorry for the ridiculous questions that I was asking. Some of them were a little bit planned, some of them weren't. But we are heading into the A final, and I needed to finish 1 place or 2 places ahead of Steph to get second in the championship. And it was wet. I was very worried. If it was dry, I was like, I can beat Steph. If it was wet, I was scared as all hell. And I thought I'd show the start of the practice. So when you go into the A final in Club 100, you get 3 or 4 laps to practice, to learn the conditions, make sure that you're happy with the car that you have, so you can change your car. And you'll notice that my inside goes Steph, and I was thinking, oh damn, Steph's overtaking me in practice, and that was getting in my head. I was thinking, Steph's this much quicker, and he is absolutely flying. Like, genuinely, watch him right now. He just goes round the outside of Bryn Albin like he's not there. He's catching up to Dante. He overtakes Dante as well. He gets a mega exit, and at this point I'm thinking, oh shit, Steph's driving like Rob Newman. Like, if that was Rob Newman's helmet driving like that, I would not be surprised. And I was thinking, I'm not going to beat Steph. I can't beat Steph. And that was going through my head in practice, and I was just thinking, oh no. And I just thought, okay, I just need to hope that Steph gets a penalty. That's going to be the only way I can beat him, because his pace in this practice session is out of this world. I don't know what he had going into this practice, but it was insane, and I was worried. I was starting in 10th, Steph was starting in 13th, so I had track position over him, but he had an incredible amount of pace, and I just had nerves from being in the wet, and my goal was just finish ahead of him. Finish ahead of him, and I can take the championship. But here we go then, the A final, the final race of the season, and away we go. It's damp, it's treacherous, and through turn 1 it's getting all kinds of muscly. We've got Dante on our inside. We get really sideways as we're now jumping on the brakes. Someone's going up our inside. Oh no, it's Steph. Theodoro has passed us. The championship is falling away as we head into hairpin 1, and this is where it gets chaotic as Andrew McWilliam ends up facing in the wrong direction, and then through here, I think that's Andrew Waterspins. We get back through on Steph, but then we see the green and yellow chevron flag, which means that we are doing a race restart. And yeah, that race did need to be restarted, but it was absolutely nuts. And my emotions were going everywhere on the start of that race, and now I had to do it all over again. Round 2, I can learn a little bit from what happened in the first race up, which is that people are going to be murdering people. That's what's going to happen. Maybe it'll be a little bit dialed back for this second start, but who knows. It's a lot slower as we make our way up to the line. Rob Newman is starting this one in pole, and Dan Seek is actually starting this one in third. But away we go for the final time for realsies this time. Bryn's going to go over to the inside, and everyone's kind of drifting out wide. We're going to try to tuck in behind Dante, get on the power. We're getting sandwiched in between 2 other drivers. Bryn's on the outside, and we end up going into the back of Bryn a little bit. I'm going to say that I got loaded. I don't know. We now go on the brakes on the inside. It gets absolutely hectic. Again, it's damp. Everyone's sliding. Bryn gets a back through on all of us, so yeah, Bryn was fine from that, and we've had a decent start. We've stayed ahead of Steph. We've gained about 2 or 3 places on this opening lap. We now try to take a wide line through Paddock, and all of a sudden Stephen Westwood shows up. But Bryn does me a solid as, owing me back after taking me out, or semi-taking me out in the previous heat. He gets rid of Stephen for me. All 3 of us were in an endurance team, and look how much we catch up to James Martin. I was on absolute fire. I have no idea where this pace came from all of a sudden, but it's like the difference between practice and the start of the race was night and day. Ed Bars is wide, struggling to find grip. There are leaves flying everywhere. It's cinematic. It's beautiful. It's the perfect end for a season. We've got someone on our outside. I think that might have been Steph or Ed. I can't remember who. But again, good run. We're trying to push James Martin along. We feel like it's almost like we just had grip and nobody else did. Like, we were running with tyres and They were driving on ice as we're having a think about going up the inside of James Martin. Decide against it. Play it safe. We're ahead of Steph. That's all we need to do. We don't need to win this race. We don't need a top 5. We don't even need a top 10. We just need to beat Steph and get a top 10. Top 10 and beating Steph gives us the championship. Again, we find so much grip through Cafe Corner. It was ridiculous. We give James Martin a little bit of a push, so he goes up the inside of Andrew Ward. We follow him through. We're like, thank you very much. Can we send it into hairpin 1? Decide against it. But again, we're just working our way through using this pace that I don't know where it's come from. I was sitting in the car thinking, how are we driving this well? It's damp. We're not usually good in the damp. This is not part of the script. And James goes a little bit wide, and we're able to just get through, gain a position. We carry as much speed as we can through the left. It does mean we kind of slide out wide, but it's fine. And now we can get our head down and try to catch up to Harrison. And I remember when I was speaking to Ed before the race, I was kind of semi-jokingly say, oh, when you see the droplets of water on your visor and people slow down, I don't slow down. I just pretend it's still dry. And I was kind of joking, but I saw the droplets of water on my visor and I pretended it was dry essentially from here on out, because it was so weird how all of a sudden from practice where it was damp and tricky, it just felt dry. It was like the track was completely different, and it had another half an hour of evolution, another half an hour of drying up compared to where it was. And yeah, it was just absolutely insane. You can see that we're catching up to Harrison and Sam. We don't quite get the best of runs through Paddock. But yeah, we're hunting them down, and I don't know. I genuinely don't know what to say. When I was catching up to Harrison and Sam, I want to say I had a big smile on my face, but I didn't. I was just so in the zone, so focused, because the conditions were slippy, and I was pushing, again, as if it was dry, which means that one little mistake, you take the wrong line through one corner and you touch that wet stuff, with the confidence that it's dry, you're going to end up in a spin or a half spin. So I was trying to give my full focus. I wasn't looking behind. I didn't care where Steph was. I just cared about working my way up through the field, catching up to these guys, and we're essentially going through our goats one by one. First up, it's Harrison Kirkham. We get the switchback of dreams. See ya, Harrison. And up the inside we go. Sadly, it doesn't affect the championship. Harrison has already won the C2 class. But again, heads down. Look how much we catch up to. Actually, we don't catch up to Sam too much through Cafe, but it was one of those where it was a little bit down. We kind of sent it sideways. We're so much more confident than Sam Lovelace on the brakes into turn 1. Everywhere, it's, again, it felt like I was driving as if it was dry, and everyone else was driving as if it was damp. And for me, it was only damp in one place, which was through Paddock, the left-hander of Paddock, which is right here. You could carry speed into this right-hander, and then here you had to be careful, but we straight line it, right? If your cart's pointing in a straight line, you don't have to worry about the lack of grip because you're going straight. And then we go into Ghana again. It was pretty much dry through this corner. We're getting low 50s, and again, we just straight line it through that king, and we gain so much time on Sam Lovelace as a result, but we can't find a way through. And we go on to lap 7 of 12. Again, taking this slightly wider line means we get on the power earlier, too far back to go up the inside into hairpin 1. But we're going to take a wider entry so that we can carry the speed. We get a fantastic run, so we send it up the inside into hairpin 2. You know what? Maybe we got a rocket for this final. And to be honest, considering the kart luck that I've had this season, I will take a rocket for a final. It's about goddamn time that I got one of these. But yeah, we are up a position. We're into 4th. This is our joint best result this season, equal with Rye. And Rye House, I was on absolute fire. Rye House, I should have won the A final if I had a couple more laps. It was just a shame that in the opening laps, I got caught up squabbling in the midfield and then had to fight my way through the field. And I just needed one more lap to catch up to the likes of Harrison and who else was? I think it was Dan Seeger and Rob Newman. But again, we had the pace, and here, really good pace. 48.7. This was our fastest lap of the race. The fastest lap overall was a 48.7 by Rob Newman. I think he was 600ths or 800ths faster than me, as we are closing on in to Mr. Dan Seeger up ahead, hand over fist. And when I got past Harrison and Sam, I thought, okay, Dan's miles ahead. We're going to get P4, that's fine. But then when I saw how much I was closing up to Dan, I was thinking, holy shit, what is this? I felt like I was flying. And I was like, we're actually going to catch Dan. We're going to catch what must have been about a 5-second deficit. And all on this lap as well. And we just catch up to Dan hand over fist. Not too much through the first couple of corners, but it is this following sequence. I mean, you can see how far Dan is up the road, and what is that, about a second? But look how much we catch up through here. We absolutely nail this. So much speed in through the right, and then through the left. We just pin it all the way through the corner. We get a nice run. Dan's in front of us. He sees us. He tries to defend. I mean, Dan, come on. The only thing worse than getting overtaken by me is getting overtaken by me after you try to defend. The funny thing is, before the race, right, Dan came up to me and was like, oh, I'm in front of you. Are you intimidated by me? I'm like, no. Like, he's intimidated by me. Like, I get past him, and then he, like, backs off by 5 seconds. I end up, like, pulling about 3 seconds in one lap. Man's off into a different postcode. He's so scared of seeing me. Okay, jokes aside, love you, Dan. Thank you for being a good sport this season with all the memes and everything. But we're up into third, and at this point, I think the rain started to come down. You can see the spots on the camera. But to be honest, I was driving as if it was the same. I was just driving, it's still dry. Keep on taking the same lines, keep the heat in the tires, because I think that's what was catching everyone else out. Because it was damp, it was those treacherous conditions. If you got off the racing line, you had that little slide, I genuinely think the heat kind of dropped out the tires, and then you couldn't get the heat back in, and you'd then struggle a bit. And heading on to lap 11, this is where the rain really started to affect. Just going into a few corners, I could feel that the grip was fading away, and that started giving me nerves. That started making me feel more nervous. And again, through that left hand, I was going flat before, and now I almost understeered into the tyre barriers. I was so incredibly nervous because I knew I had second in the championship with this result, my best ever A final result. And at this point, when I came over the start-finish line at the end of the lap, I had a look behind me and I saw a huge gap to Dan Seeger because, you know, he's slow. So he pulled so far ahead, and I thought, you know what, we take it easy. But that's the biggest mistake you can make, because think back to 2011, Sebastian Vettel leading by miles, takes it easy, spins, and Jenson Button gets past. And this was no different. And I can't believe I've done it again in an A. Again, you can see it there, and this is just more and more nerves coming into play, and the track's getting really slidey at this point. And when you're leading, when you're ahead this much and you're trying to take it safely, you just make mistakes, and then all of a sudden just a snap and you lose the back end and it's over. And again, I was just thinking, just a couple of corners to go, just tiptoe it around. And yeah, we don't bin it. I can't hold it any longer. We frigging don't bin it. We do it. We actually got a really quick lap on this final lap, despite tiptoeing it around. It was pretty much the same pace as Dante and Rob, and we actually finally did it. We managed to get a P3, a podium, an overall podium in Club 100 to round off the season. I'm beyond words with that. You'll hear a little shout in a second. I've had a massive smile on my face from the end of this race until me recording this. I'm going to have a smile on my face for another few days as well. But with that, I do want to say a few final things. I know I can be very sentimental, but with this being the final video of the season, as you can hear Harrison congratulating me at the end, I think this season was very, very aptly described by Andrew Mather as a roller coaster season. And I think this final race, or this final day, kind of showed that as well. It kind of matched my season, right? The P3 at the start, not being able to keep up with Dan and Ben. Then the next race where we had insane pace, incident coming into play, falling back. The next race where we were just that little bit too hesitant to get past Ben, and then everyone flooding past us. Going into the A final, feeling off the pace in practice, to then having one of the drives of my life. I still don't know how I had that pace in slightly damp conditions where we were able to find the grip and other very, very talented drivers weren't able to do that. It's also been a season where I think I've pushed myself beyond my own limits, and I've got penalties as a result. I've made mistakes, but I think overall, and most importantly, I've gotten a lot better. I feel so much more confident battling with loads of the top guys now that I've had this kind of experience. Now that I've done stupid sends that wouldn't work and almost made them work, it's kind of given me the confidence to know, hell yeah, I can do it. And I think back to last year, even at the start of this year, I'd go into races where I'd think, oh no, I've got this driver in it, it's going to be really tricky, to getting to a point where I'll go into a race, even if it's Dante or Ed or even Rob, I'll think, you know what, I can do it. I can give them a solid race. So I've been really happy with that. Also, just in general, a massive thank you to everyone in the paddock, everyone that I've spoken to, everyone that I've raced against, people that I haven't been able to speak to, because the paddock is what makes the Club 100 races so much fun. And it's also been really cool to go into the paddock after uploading a video and people just saying, oh yeah, saw the video or saw that overtake, and me being like, oh shit, people have actually seen some of the videos. So yeah, thank you to all of you guys and to the viewers for watching the videos. But guys, press a freaking like button, like seriously, come on, it's not hard. What else? Club 100, dealing with my bullshit all season. I actually, during the event ceremony, I got an award for Bandit of the Year, dirtiest driver, because I got more penalties than anybody else this year. It's an incredible achievement that's only been accomplished by me. I would like to say that to get a penalty, you need to make mistakes, and to make mistakes, it happens when you try too hard. So in other words, I'm just trying hard, and other people aren't because they're lazy. So yeah, I'm just trying harder than anyone else. Actually, in fact, I was just trying to give everyone a chance by getting as many penalties as I did. Like, what's everyone else's excuses? Yeah, I mean, I got all of these penalties and I still got second in the championship, 8th overall. It's just too easy. Finally, big thanks to the sponsors, Lions Creed. Got to do extra practice thanks to them. Clay, Rye, etc. But to end off this video, here's a nice little collection of photos, including a little surprise for my wonderful Goat Farm members. So thank you everyone. I'll be back next year. I'm going to be doing SP60 instead of sprints, and there's a few more videos to come. I'm going to have a little compilation of all of my penalties that I've got this year. Another video maybe with my favorite 10 overtakes of the season as well. But yeah, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, everyone, thank you so much for watching these videos over the course of the year, and see you all next year for more Club 100 shenanigans. Goodbye.